Cikgu Lee dan Cikgu Faizal ya. Okay, good afternoon. So, did we?
Shall we start now?
Yeah, I think so. So already at 165.
Yeah.
So, maybe we start.
Yeah. Okay, allow me to begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good evening to everybody. Okay, allow me to introduce myself. I am Puan Nuriawati Ekumano from SNK Hutan Menentang Bagan Datuk Perak. And today I will be your host and also one of the presenters. Okay, so first of all, before we start, I would like to welcome Puan Kasmiati binti Khatiman, Pegawai Pendidikan Daerah Bagan Datuk. And also we have Encik Fahmi. Alright, we also have Encik Fahmi with us today. Thank you for spending your time. We are so delighted to have both of you with us today. And also we have, thank you. Okay, we also have Puan Iswari, anak perempuan Mulusami, SIC Plus, Science and Mathematics, PPD Bagan Datuk. And also to the other officer from PPD Kuala Selangor, Puan Nurul Huda binti Shidi. Okay, the SIC Plus Bahasa, okay, from PPD Kuala Selangor. Okay, welcome once again and thank you so much for spending your time. It is so delighted to have all of you with us today. Thank you so much. Okay, sebelum kita meneruskan dengan agenda kita yang seterusnya, saya ingin menjemput Puan Kasmiati binti Khatiman, Pegawai Pendidikan Daerah Bagan Datuk untuk memberikan ucapan alu-aluan dan sepatah dua kata mengenai program kita pada hari ini. Okay, dipersilakan Puan Kasmiati.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good evening. Dan seterusnya, salam wanti-wantagat ke arah PPD Bagan Datuk nombor 1 di Malaysia, insyaAllah. Thank you untuk Puan Nurhidawati kita pada pekan ini. Sebelum itu, saya ucapkan ribuan terima kasih kerana menjemput saya dalam program jalinan Task Force Bahasa Inggeris SPM Faculty Writing. Yang berusaha Cik Fahmi bin Tajwid selaku Timbalan PPD Sektor Pembelajaran PPD Bagan Datuk. Tak lupa juga kepada Cik Muhammad Taufik Ihsan, Timbalan PPD Sektor Pembelajaran PPD Kuala Selangor. Seterusnya tak lupa juga kepada Puan Iswari SIC PPD Bagan Datuk yang menguruskan program kita pada pekan ini, seluruh ketua panitia bagi setiap sekolah yang terlibat pada pekan ini. Tak lupa juga kepada 10 buah sekolah menengah daerah Bagan Datuk dan 11 buah sekolah menengah PPD Kuala Selangor serta pelajar-pelajar tingkatan 4 dan juga mungkin ada pelajar tingkatan 5 yang turut join pada pekan ini. Jadi syabas dan tahniah kepada kedua-dua PPD khususnya di bawah sektor pembelajaran yang julung-julung kalinya mengadakan program jalinan ini secara maya. Jadi alhamdulillah bagus juga ya. positifnya zaman COVID-19 ini kita dapat bersua muka dua PPD bergabung mengadakan program yang sangat memberi manfaat kepada pelajar-pelajar kita yang telah lama kita tidak menatap wajah mereka. Jadi apa yang saya harapkan melalui program ini murid-murid akan dapat menghasilkan kepelbagaian penulisan dalam karangan kertas dua bahasa Inggeris dan seterusnya mungkin juga memberi manfaat yang sangat berguna kepada murid-murid kita. Jadi harapan saya melalui program ini jalinan di antara PPD Bagan Datuk dan juga Kuala Selangor akan terus dibina dengan erat dan memberi manfaat kepada guru-guru dan murid-murid. Seterusnya dapat membantu meningkatkan prestasi pencapaian bahasa Inggeris menengah atas dan seterusnya membudayakan PLC di kalangan guru-guru dari kedua-dua daerah ini. Jadi harapan saya dengan guru-guru bahasa Inggeris bagi kedua-dua ini tidak akan putus walaupun selepas program ini selesai. Teruskanlah dengan pembudayaan PLC di kalangan guru-guru kerana sesungguhnya ini sangat memberi kebaikan. Dan mudah-mudahan melalui program ini dapat meningkatkan pencapaian grade pelajar mata pelajaran bagi bahasa Inggeris dan seterusnya membantu meningkatkan grade purata sekolah dan juga grade purata daerah insyaAllah bagi tahun 2021 juga 2020. Jadi manfaatkanlah program ini sebaik mungkin dan tahniah sekali lagi kepada kedua-dua PPT ini khususnya sektor pembelajaran yang diketuai oleh Encik Fahmi di Bagan Datuk dan juga Cik Muhammad Tauhid di Kuala Selangor. Jadi sebenarnya saya ini orang Selangor jadi kedua-dua negeri saya bawa sekali. Jadi sangat dekat dengan saya dan kebetulan PPD Kuala Selangor yang baru bersara betul? Puan Nik adalah rakan saya sama-sama khusus masa entiti QEL pernah sama-sama menjadi pengetua baru saja bersara dan terima kasih sekali lagi and good luck. Mudah-mudahan ia akan membawa kejayaan yang sangat luar biasa. Jadi saya akhiri program ini, saya terus rasmikanlah dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim program jalinan transfer bahasa Inggeris SPM Chapter Writing. Jadi saya akhiri dengan kata-kata if you think you can do it, you can do it. InsyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, and thank you very much Puan Kasmianti for a very inspiring and a very motivating speech from you. Okay, and once again I would like to welcome all the teachers from both district Bagan Datuk and also Kuala Selangor, and not to forget to all the students who spend your evening with us today to discuss about this program Jalinan Task Force on topic Diversify sentence structure in essay writing. Okay, anjuran Sektor Pembelajaran Bagan Datuk dan Kuala Selangor. Okay, welcome once again. Okay, before I get into detail on our topic today, allow me to share with all of you what is our main objectives. Okay, today we are not focusing on the writing process from the beginning, but today we only focus on the linguistic competence, the linguistic part. Okay, what we have to do in order to achieve good mark for the linguistic components. Alright, so the linguistic components including what we call the organization, the communication achievement in your essay paper, and also your language. How you consider that criteria before you write your essay. Okay, so that is our main objective, the linguistic competence. Okay, basically, this one is our main objective of our sharing, of our program today. The first one is we want to help the students to use appropriate style for each part. Okay, as you know that your paper to writing we have 3 parts. Okay, later on we will go into detail about the format of your SPM paper. And next one, we aim to guide the students to construct a variety of sentence structure. Okay, we want to help you how to vary the sentence style. in your essay, in your piece of writing. We also want to assist you to organize the ideas properly. How you want to link, how you want to connect all your ideas, all your good ideas. Okay? Organization is important. Not only having a good content, but how you organize it, how you make it cohesive and coherence is also important. Okay, so next one, we want to help you to achieve required minimum marks for each part. As you know that each part of your writing paper will be marked at different band, different level. Okay, I will explain to you briefly, okay, about the band and also the format of your paper. So basically, these are the 4 objectives that we want you to achieve, especially for the students today. All right. So this is the format of your SPM paper. So this is like a refresh for all of you. Okay, I believe that all the teachers have shared with all of you about the format, the features in your writing paper so many times. Okay, so let me just do a recap with all of you. So in paper writing, you have total mark of 60 marks with total weightage of 25%. Okay, the total papers that we have in English is 4, so paper 2, the weightage is only 25%. The time allocated for you to write the essay is 1.5 hours. Okay. How many parts do you have in your writing paper? Okay, you have 3 parts, okay, which each part carries 20 marks respectively. All right, is that clear? Okay, so let's go into Okay, so let's go. Okay, well, let's see what are the parts. Okay, how many parts that we have? As I mentioned, we have 3 parts. Okay, the part 1 is writing a short note or email. A short response where we want you to produce a short response in only 80 words. Okay, it's a very what we call small amount of number. Okay, 80 words. Okay, and it is marked at different level, at different band. Okay, later on I will explain to all of you. Okay, in part 2, we have directed writing. Okay, where you have to write an essay in 125 to 150 words. As you can see, the task requirement increases from part to part. Am I right? Okay, so part 3 is the most difficult part, they say. They said that this is the most difficult part where you will be given 3 questions, okay, 3 options, and you have to choose one essay. What type of question that they will ask you? Okay, it consists of, it is either article, review, report, or a story, where you have to choose only one and you have to write in 200 to 250 words. So basically, this is the format of your writing paper. Okay, by understanding the format, actually you can plan your writing. All right. Okay, next. Okay. Okay, I want to explain to you the assessment scales. As I mentioned before, every part are scored differently. Okay, the score will be based on these 4 criteria. Okay, what we have here, we have content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. Yes, I know that all of your teachers have explained to you so many times about these 4 criteria. Okay, so basically, it is divided into 2. Okay, the first one is task completion. Is how you fulfill the task requirement. Okay, that is for content. Okay, if you manage to give a good topic sentence, if you manage to give good supporting sentences, and you can conclude by giving a good concluding sentences, you may get good mark for your content. So that is the aim. Okay, for the task achievement. Okay, then the next 3 criteria is what we are going to focus today, which is the linguistic competence, the linguistic skills, consists of communicative achievement, organization, and language. What are these criteria? Why you need to know all these criteria? So basically, it will help you, okay, to have direction before you write your essay. I love to say that I love to say to my students to understand this so that you know what you are going to write, what you want to achieve before you produce your piece of writing. Okay, so allow me to explain. Okay, briefly, what is communicative achievement? Okay, it focuses on what is the correct tone, the correct style. Okay, what is the appropriate language that you need to use? Okay, for that type of question. Do I need to use informal language? Do I need to use informal language? Or should I use a friendly tone? Okay, that is considered under PA. Okay, the short form is PA. Okay, can you hold the attention of the readers? Okay, is your writing convincing enough? So that is under CA. Okay, as you know, for your information, that this criteria will be marked separately, which 5 marks will be allocated for each criteria. So if you can give a good content, you get 5 separate marks. You can give communicative achievement, good communicative achievement, you will get 5 separate marks. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so students, next one, okay, this organization. Okay, organization focuses on how you link your ideas together, how you make your what we call your essay coherence by adding connectors, conjunction, suitable cohesive devices. Okay, is your paragraph suitable? Do you have a sufficient paragraph, sufficient cohesive devices or connectors? That is under organization. Okay. And last one is language. What is language? The language focuses on the grammatical aspect. Okay, do you use the correct tenses? Do you spell the word correctly? Okay, do you have a right sentence structure? Do you use the uncommon lexis, the uncommon vocabulary? Okay, is there any effort or attempt to use all that? So that is under language. So basically, the C, A, O, and L is related to each other where we want to have a good mark for linguistic competence, for the linguistic skills. So basically, this is what teacher Sir Faisal and I will explain today to all of you. How to level up, okay, level up your quality, your essay quality by producing a good a good piece of writing based on these 3 criteria. Right? Okay, students, as I mentioned before that every task are marked at different level. This is what I meant. Okay, this is what I meant by that. Okay, where is if you can see the intended CPFR level that we want from all of you increases from part to part. Am I right? And when it is increases, the band is increasing. At the same time, the task requirement also become difficult. Okay, so let's see this. The task 1 or part 1, your short response. Okay, we have to write an email. What is our intended band that we want you to achieve? So we want you to achieve B1. Okay, 4 to 5 marks for each criteria that I mentioned earlier. Okay, the 4 criteria: content, communicative achievement, organization, and language. Okay, we just want you to achieve B1. So we will mark your essay at A1 to B1 level. So teacher, what is B1? I will not understand what is B1. Okay, I will explain to you in the next slide. Okay, so next for task 2, the level increases. So we want you to achieve B2. Okay, what is the criteria? What is the requirement in order for you to get B2 in your guided writing? Okay, you cannot simply 100% apply what you write in task 1 to task 2, because if you apply what you have in part 1, you just get 3 to 2 marks. Okay, as you can see, okay, the level of CFR is different from task to task, from part to part. All right, is that clear? Okay, I will explain to you what you have to have in order to achieve B2. Okay, so next one is task 3, the extended writing. For extended writing, as I said, is the most difficult part in your writing paper. But we want you to achieve C1 level, okay, even higher level. is the highest level that we want you to achieve in your writing paper. So what is the criteria if I want to achieve the C1 essay? Okay, so this is what you have to understand. What is the overall writing production that we expect from all of you? Teacher, why do I need to know this? Teacher, why do I need to know this? It's not important. Just write the essay. Okay, as I said before, that you have to know what the criteria that we want, so that from that you can plan your writing. You can fulfill what the requirement that we want from all of you. All right, so for part one, okay, this is for part one, the female. B1 you to achieve B1. So what is B1? Okay, students, you just write a straightforward connected text, a straightforward idea. Okay, use a simple grammatical form, use simple preposition, use simple vocab. Okay, use a straightforward language. We can say a straightforward language. Use familiar subject. Okay, for example, you begin your sentences, every of your sentence with pronouns. You stop, then you start with pronoun she, then you start with I, you start with he, and that is what we call you use a familiar subject. For part one, it is okay. Okay, then you use a simple connector. You use but, you use after that, you use next. Okay, so that is example of simple connectors and linkers. It is okay, it is good enough for part one only. Okay, so overall of your written production, it is understandable. Okay, but some of unclear and inconsistency is okay. Okay, so this is only applicable for part one. If you want to get 4 to 5 marks, you just follow this requirement, this criteria, what we want from you. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so let's move to part two. Okay, where we want you to achieve B2 level, B2 band. So what we expect from all of you to produce. So we want you to write a clear and detailed ideas. Okay, before that you just have a straightforward. You like just merely touch the idea. But for this one, you have to give a clear and detailed. You provide supporting details. You provide examples to support your point. So that is B2 requirement. Okay, you use a variety of subject. Like in part one, you use pronouns at the beginning of your sentence. But in part two, maybe you can use prepositional phrases. You may start with preposition, or you may start with dependent clauses. Okay, you can start with what we call subordinator. So that's what that is the meaning of variety of subject. Not just start with pronouns. Okay, so you know how to synthesize and evaluate. Synthesize, you know how to connect, to link the cause and effect of your idea. Okay, and also you can give a good examples. Okay, compared to part one, you may you give a simple or common example, one or two. Okay, but in part two, if you can give a number of sources, number of good examples, you may achieve 4 to 5 marks for each component, that we have discussed. Okay, you have a variety of positive devices, you have everyday vocabulary, and you know how to differentiate formal and informal language. So that is B2. Okay, let's go to C1. Okay, C1, the highest level, the highest band that we want you to achieve in part 3, standard writing. Okay, you must have clear and well-structured. Okay, well-structured ideas. Okay, linked with unique cohesive devices. Okay, everything is coherence. Okay, you have a complex subject. Okay, compared to part 1 and part 2, where you can also hold the target readers to read your piece of writing. Okay, you know how to expand. Okay, you know how to expand and support the details with subsidiary points and give reason and argument. Okay, you use a lot, you use variety and sufficient cohesive devices with good effect. Okay, maybe you use consequently, you use additionally, particularly. That is uncommon cohesive devices. Alright, students? Okay, next one, okay, you use variety of sentence structure and there is only occasional error. and you can round off your essay with appropriate conclusion. So basically, that is what we want you to produce in your paper 2 writing part 1, part 2, and part 3. Alright, students, okay, I hope all of you are clear with this explanation. Okay, so the next slot, I will let my partner, okay, also known as Sir Faizal, to continue with the type of sentence structure, okay, which is our main focus today, okay, which also help you to produce a good piece of writing. Okay, over to you, Sir Faizal. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Madam Nick, for the brief explanation just now. And I've seen someone just asked a question just now. If I'm mistaken, Miss Aina, Patricia had asked a question. Yes, Aina. What is your question, Aina? Because you are raising your hand just now. I can see the symbol button.
Oh, she said she mistakenly.
Okay. There's a question from teacher Dewi. Some students do not understand what is the meaning of coherence. Okay, when you link your coherence is when you link your two ideas together. Okay, make sure it is logically linked. It makes sense. So that is coherence. You cannot simply use all the cohesive devices here and there, wherever you like. Make sure it makes sense. So that is the meaning of coherence. Okay, is that clear, students? Am I answering your question, Devi? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so may I proceed? Okay, so thank you to everyone, and you are welcome to this program for today. And I hope I can help you, me and also teacher Nick, we can help you to somehow improve and boost up your writing skill for today. This is a sharing session, and we hope that this sharing session will be very helpful for everyone who attended today. Okay, so I will start our topic for today. All right, so I will cover on tools and structuring sentences. So sometimes students may ask a question, why we need to use tools and structuring sentences? Why is this important? How can this actually help to boost up our writing skills? Okay, so this is what I'm going to share with all of you. Okay, some of you are quite familiar with some of the terms here. Okay, don't worry, because terms that we use here is just terms that have been used by grammar geeks. Grammar geeks meaning like us teachers. We love to use terms in producing sentences, in English, in grammar. So these are just the terms. Most of the times, students normally have been using this for many times in the essay, but did not know how to make it vary, to make it more interesting, to engage the reader. The reader refers to us teachers and the examiner later on. Okay? So, by using these tools and structuring sentences, this can help to boost up your marks for your reading. So, I will cover on syntax, sentence structure, punctuation. Okay, so these are the tools that you will be using in writing essay. Other than that, I will also cover on simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and later on, teacher Nick will proceed with combining these two types of sentences, which are compound and complex sentences. Okay, so tools in writing. I have made this simpler for everyone, and I hope this helps you in terms of understanding. Okay, so syntax. What is syntax? In other words, syntax refers to the order in which words appear to form a sentence. So how you arrange your sentence is also important, because why? If you end up arranging your sentence wrongly, the reader refers to us teacher, and the examiner later on will be confused, will not understand what you are trying to deliver. Okay, so next is sentence structure. So sentence structure, in other words, is idea chunks, your idea, the information, the idea that you want to include in creating a sentence. Because if because why? Before we produce an essay, okay, so we need to combine a few paragraphs first. Okay, so to write a paragraph, you need to combine a few sentences first. So within the sentences, there are idea chunks, there are information that we can combine to create a sentence. Another tool is punctuation. Okay? This tool has been used by students. I'm sure that you have been using this since primary school, and you carry this onwards during your secondary school. So, what are the example of the punctuation? Commas, periods. Periods refers to dots, refers to dots. Colons and semi-colons. Don't worry, I'll show you a detailed example of what I meant by syntax, by types of sentences or sentence structures, and also how to use the punctuation in writing your sentences, and later on to use it in paper 1 and paper 2. Alright, so this is the diversity in sentence structure. Yes, I'm sure some of you have heard about this terms before. Okay, so there are simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and also compound plus complex sentence. So this is the flow of the types of sentences and how you can actually move from one sentence to a more diverse sentence, a more varied sentence. Okay, so why is it to diverse this type of sentence? Why? The reason is to engage the reader. It is really crucial if you can engage the reader, to attract the reader's interest. Okay? Because why? When the readers are interested in your writing, in your essay, when the examiner is interested in reading further or to actually try to go deep into your essay, so it means your essay managed to attract their interest. That is important. Okay? All right. So the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Some students have this kind of difficulties. Okay? So this kind of difficulties means they do not know how to produce a sentence, how to actually start writing essays. So how to start, when to start, those kind of questions. So by doing a few exercises or a lot of exercises, this will help you to get used to the question format, and later on will help you to boost your skills. Especially for today's lesson, of course, I will emphasize it on writing skills. Alright, so simple.
Sorry, Supervisor, to interrupt.
Yes, what is
There's
it?
noises at the back.
Oh, there are a lot of noises.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so what should I do with that? Is there any noise now? Yeah. Okay, so I'm so sorry about the noise. I'm not sure where the noise comes from. Okay, so simple sentence. Okay, so in every sentence, the most important part is actually the verb. Okay, so verb. What is the verb? Okay, verb is actually when you are any action or any action that you want to do, then that is the verb. So in the example here, in the sentence here, as you can see, there are two verbs that I have used here. The first one is the word jump, and another one is the word walk. Okay? Jump and walk, lompat dan berjalan. So both of these are actually action and action. Berlakuan. Okay, so in order for you to produce a simple sentence, of course, first step, you need a subject. You definitely need a subject. Okay, and after that, you need WH question. So what is the subject? After this, I'll give you example of what kind of subject that you can use. So, first of all, here, subject here in the sentence, as you can see, the cat jumps. So, the subject is actually referring to the animal, the cat itself. Okay? So, the cat shoots an action. So, that action is what? That action is jump, melompat. That is can be considered as a simple sentence. And I'm sure most of students here may be able to produce this kind of simple sentence. Okay, so this is the first step. So you add on a few questions, WH question. For those who are not familiar with WH question, and perhaps some of you are familiar with this WH question, some teachers, they give formula to help the students understand and memorize the WH question. Okay, so I give example of WH question. For example, like how, who, where, when. Those are WH questions. So by asking a question here, for example, where the boy walked to. Okay? Where the boy walked to. So the question where refers to the place. So by adding this extra information, it can actually help to make your sentence better. Okay? The example is the boy walked to the tennis court. So tennis court refers to the place the boy is walking toward to. Alright, so this is the subject and also verb. Okay, in terms of subject, okay, so subject can either be a person or people. It can also be or refer to a place, thing, or idea. Okay, so this is the most basic and the most common knowledge that students need to have in order for them to produce a simple sentence.
Faizal,
Yes.
if you have any stand fan or table fan near you, yeah, do you mind to speak?
Okay, is there any more noise at the moment?
No, clear.
Clear. Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the example is okay for a subject for a subject that refer to a person. Okay. So it can either be a boy, okay, he or she, or girl. He or she is plural. It's a sorry, not plural. It's pronouns. It is a pronouns, and he refer to male and she refer to female. Okay, and place can either be any place that you want to mention in your essay. It can be a classroom, toilet, canteen. Okay, and thing, gender. It can be fruits. It can be animals. It can be a chair or refrigerator and etc. Dan lain-lain lah. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a word order. So a simple formula, how you can use this formula to actually make your sentence better. Because sometimes students have this kind of difficulties, whereas that they do not know what to add in their sentence or sentences. So the formula is SVOPG. So S stands for subject, verb stands for, V stands for verb, O stands for object, P stands for place, and T stands for time. Okay, so this formula, this word order is actually a basic English sentence structure. Okay, so the subject that I have used in here refer to people. Okay, we maksudnya apa? Kami, we. So it's referred to plural, ramai. So the verb, the action is actually visited. So we visited who? Okay, you use WH question, who? So a friend, and then you add on place, place. You ask the same question again. Where? In Caracas. When? In 2006. So this word order will help students, even though you are producing a simple sentence later on, okay, in your part 1 or part 2, okay. However, okay, by adding this P and T, place and time, later on in your simple sentence, this can help to improve your sentence better. Okay, right. So next, before I move on to compound sentences, okay, any question about simple sentence? Because just now there's noises that have been somehow disturb the sound. If you have any question, okay, don't worry, I will open the Q&A session later again, okay, and you can ask me any question, okay, anytime that you feel necessary. Okay, so a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Okay, so next, after simple sentence, okay, so we move on to compound sentences. So what is compound sentences? A compound sentence consists of two independent clauses joined together by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Let me explain to you what does I meant by independent clauses, okay, what is a comma, and what is coordinating conjunction. So again, independent clauses or dependent clauses, these are just the terms used by us teachers, by grammar geeks. Okay, so to help students understand better, independent clauses are sentence, okay, or phrase, sentence, right? Sentence that can stand on its own, yang boleh berdiri sendiri, or also known as a complete sentence. So if you join, gabungkan two complete sentences together, this will somehow change your simple sentence to a compound sentence. Okay, so that is what interesting about English. Okay, you can change how you actually want to describe things just by combining, just by combining. So how to combine that? That is when you can use a tool. And one of the tool is called comma. Salah satu toolnya adalah comma. Okay, and also a coordinating conjunction. Okay, and I'm sure most students here have heard about this from time to time, from your teachers since primary school until your secondary school. The formula is fanboys. So this is actually an acronym, an acronym that comes from these 7 words. for. F stands for for. A stands for N. The word N stands for no. B stands for but. O stands for or. Y stands for yet, and S stands for so. So you can use this together with the two, comma, semicolon, and so on, to combine two simple sentences and change it into compound sentence. Why I explain about these sentences first? Okay, because to help our students to see the flow, okay, the flow of what type of sentences and how to change the sentences and later on use it in different parts of the essay, namely part 1, part 2, and part 3. So the examples in terms of sentences is, okay, as you can see, the first example that I have given here, the first sentence is he was tired. Okay, I have put color here. The red color refer to the coordinating conjunction. So there are two independent clause here. Ada dua ayat yang lengkap dekat sini. The first sentence is he was tired, and the second sentence is he went to bed early. Okay, so when you want to combine this, you use two, like comma just now. You put a comma and you choose one of the coordinating conjunction, one of the fanboys. Okay, so the sentence will change to a compound sentence. Okay, he was tired, for he went to bed early. Okay, similar case for I cooked dinner and he washed the dishes. So as you can see, there are two complete sentences here. And you join these two sentences again by using a comma and a coordinating conjunction. And I'm sure students have been using this recently or previously from time to time in the essay. It's just that sometimes they do not actually know that the students themselves are actually using compound sentences. Okay. Another example is Jane has a red car, but Jill has a blue car. Okay, so as you can see here, there are two complete sentences. There are two independent clauses, and these two complete sentences joined together by a comma and coordinating conjunction. Okay, I'll show you another example, okay, of compound sentence. Okay, so I drink green tea, but they drink coffee. Okay, so as you can see, again, I have divided the words again. Okay, so the first part and the second part and the later part are what we call independent clause, or also known as complete sentence, because these clause stand alone as a sentence. So how to join these two sentences? Again, by using a comma and fanboys. Fanboys. Okay, so just as a reminder again, a compound sentence has at least two independent clauses. At least two independent clauses. So, what are another tools or other tools that you can use to help you to write a compound sentence? So you can use comma and semicolon. Okay, and also transitional. Okay, so I show you the first example. Okay, so the first example actually emphasizes on the usage of comma and fanboys. The one that I had explained earlier. Okay, the example is, I like to study grammar and I love this class. Two complete sentences, two independent clauses are combined by using tools, which is a comma and fanboys. Now, okay, we use semicolon. Okay, semicolon. This symbol, simbol yang ada titik dan calit di bawah tu, that is what we call semicolon. Okay, so I like to study grammar. Grammar, not grandma, because some students, because I remember some of my students sometimes they pronounce grammar as grandma, naming it, and sometimes it makes me laugh, right? Okay, so I like to study grammar. Okay, semicolon. I love this class. Okay, however, students have to remember before you start using semicolon, you have to make sure the first idea, the first sentence, and the second sentence share the same idea, or the second sentence explain more about the first sentence. Okay, only then you can use semicolon. You cannot use sentences that show different kind of idea. Okay, for semicolon. Okay, because semicolon, the purpose of having semicolons is to explain further or to give extra information about the first sentence. Again, by combining these two sentences together and you add on a semicolon there, bam, you get a compound sentence. As easy as that. Okay. Next is you combine a semicolon and a transitional. Okay. I like to study grammar, semicolon. You add on the word therefore, comma again. I love this class. So I hope, okay, by showing these few examples will help students understand better. Actually, to produce a simple and compound sentence, it is actually very and extremely easy. And I'm sure everyone can produce this kind of sentences. So can you imagine if you manage to produce this kind of sentences in your essay, we as teachers will thank God. We will thank God that wow, this is our students, this is our product. Okay? And our students managed to produce something wonderful like this. Finally. Okay, finally, thank God. Because it is actually easy. Again, okay, by using what? By using checkbox, the basic one, and also tools. Okay, and you also need to know how to arrange the sentences. Okay, either the subject should go in front, either the verb should go in the middle, or either the adjective. Where can you put the adjective? Where can you put the adverbs, for example? That is in terms of syntax. Okay, so okay, we will move on to the next slide. Okay. Again, any question about compound sentence before I move on to complex sentences? Okay, and again, don't worry, I'll open to Q&A again after this. Okay, okay. So among the blind, the one eye man is king. If you notice, students, if you notice, just now from the beginning up until now, I have been giving proverbs from time to time. You can also use proverbs in your essay. Perhaps you can memorize a few proverbs and something that is easy for you to relate with your real life, right? Okay, so next I move on to complex sentences. Just now we learned about independent clause. So independent clause is a complete sentence. Now, if we want to learn about a complex sentences, we need to understand about dependent clause. Just now, independent. Now, dependent. Okay? I still remember when I explained this to my students about the usage of prefixes, tentang cara menggunakan prefixes. Okay? Daripada dependent, we add on in front of it, it becomes independent. Okay, so my students make a joke about this. So I asked my student, okay, this kind of question and give explanation, and they reply with something funny, but they change it from bahasa to English. Okay? They ask me that, sir, what is ayah in English? I said father. What is emak? Mak in English. Okay, so mak, mother. What is abang in English? Bang, brother. Kakak, I said sister, and my student said it's wrong, not sister. Okay, so I asked them, why not? Why kakak is not a sister in English? Okay, because of the sound, sir. Okay, B, bang, so brother. Kalau kakak, kada lah. Alamak, student, Okay, so let me go back to complex sentences. So a complex sentence has an independent clause combined with a dependent clause. Okay, ayat yang tak boleh berdiri sendiri digabungkan dengan ayat yang boleh berdiri sendiri. Okay, complete sentence you combine with a phrase that is not complete. You combine this together, then you have a complex sentence. Okay, so the dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction. So a few examples of subordinating conjunction. We have after, we have although, because, before, even though, however, if, since, and so on, etc., and etc. Okay, so I'm sure students have been using the word because for most of their sentences, and without actually realizing, they are actually applying the subordinating conjunction here in their sentences. They don't realize it, but they know how to use it. Okay, so to make things better for our students, we can use subordinating conjunction. We add on independent clause, and we add on another one, which is dependent clause, and boom, it becomes a complete sentence. So I give you an example of a complex sentences. Okay, so the one in blue color refer to independent clause, refer to complete sentence. Okay, the one in blue. The one in green refer to dependent clause, ayat yang tak lengkap tadi. Okay, ayat yang tak lengkap sendiri. Okay, so the first example is, I washed the car. So, I washed the car, the sentence is already complete. If you write until the word car, it is already correct. Okay. However, if you want to make it, if you want to give more explanation, more detail about your sentence, so you add on a dependent clause. I came home. So before the word I came home is the subordinating conjunction, the word after. So you combine these three aspects. I washed the car after I came home. Okay, so it gives more information. Okay, another example. He went to see a doctor. Okay, again, this sentence is already complete. This is already a complex sentence because he was sick. Okay, so the word because give reasons why he just now, the male just now, went to see a doctor. And the reason is because he was sick. See? So, subordinating conjunction plus dependent clause give further details, give further and extra information. Okay, so just in case students wonder, can we change the sequence? Boleh tak dependent clause ni nak duduk depan, independent clause nak duduk belakang? So can we change the syntax? Can we change the sequence? Here and forth, the answer is yes. So the example is, even though she was late, even though just now is subordinating conjunction. And I noticed this, most of students sometimes they think the word even though is one word, is close. However, okay, it's a mistake, it's a common mistake that students always get in their essays, in their previous essays. Even though, okay, or actually you have to separate these two, the word even and the word though. Okay, I continue. She was 8, comma. She managed to complete the assignment. Okay, so the blue one, the second sentence is the independent clause. So you combine this together, it becomes a complex sentence. Okay, one more example. All right, so when the cake is brown, comma, remove it from the oven. So when the cake is brown is actually a dependent clause. And independent clause is remove it from the oven, because this clause could stand alone as a sentence. For example, when we say remove it from the oven, the sentence become an instruction. Dia akan jadi arahan. Remove it from the oven. Okay. However, the sentence change into a complex sentence when you add a tool there to separate these two, to separate between dependent and also independent clause. So a complex sentence has an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Okay. All right. So this is something similar which I had explained just now. The subordinating conjunction. You can add on the word when in front of the sentence. Okay, so I give you another example. You will definitely lose if you don't try. So the subordinating conjunction that I use here is the word if. If. Okay, so you don't try that is dependent clause, and the first part of the sentence is you will definitely lose. All right, so I have a task here. Okay, so this task is actually required for the students to separate, which boxes goes to simple sentence, which boxes goes to compound sentence, and which boxes goes to complex sentence. Okay, I will give you the link in the chat, in the message section there, right? So you can try on your own after this. Wait, I need to show you the page. Okay. So I have pasted the link in call messages. The link for wordwall.net. It's some kind like a game. I promise you it will be interesting. Okay. Okay. So let me show you. Okay. Okay, wait, give it time. All right, so can everyone see this on their screen? I hope so.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this you can try this yourself later, right? I'll just show you example. Okay. Yes. So you can see, this is a game that the students can actually enjoy by helping them to separate, okay, which sentence actually refer to simple, compound, and complex sentences. And also, this will be a good tool, not just for students, but for teachers as well. Since we teachers are living in a new era, right? I should say a new era, zaman baru. PPPR, WFH, working from home. You can add time, you can add graphic and so on. And I'm sure most teachers here have been using these tools for quite some time now. Okay, let me show you an example. Simple sentence. Which one is simple sentence? Okay. John jumped with excitement, right? Okay. Katakanlah saya buat salah, apa akan jadi kalau buat salah? Nanti dia akan bagi tahu mana yang salah, mana yang betul. Okay, so students can choose which box refers to simple, compound, and complex sentences. Okay, so I'm going to show you just these examples. You can try this yourself after this program, after this lesson. Okay. All right, so let me continue with the next one, which is short communicative messages. Don't worry, students. You can try the game just now. Okay, after this, right? You can try after this, and I promise you, you will learn a lot, or you will learn something today. At least now, after you do the game, at least you will know how to differentiate between different types of sentences and how or what is the purpose of having tools in English. All right. So an ounce of protection is worth a pound of cure. This is also a proverb that you can use later on in your essay. So without wasting any more time, I would like to move on to our first part of the question paper. Okay, so just now you have learned about simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence. What is syntax? What is tools? What are the sentence structures? So now the application part. Okay, just by learning alone without any application is not interesting, of course, am I right? So why not? Okay, what we have learned just now, we apply it in our part 1, in our part 2 question, and also our part 3 question. So I will cover on part 1 and part 2 question. Okay, so the first part is short communicative message. Bunyi bombastic, short communicative message, SCM. Apalah SCM ya? Again, this is just terms. Terms used by tech geek, by technology geek. Okay. All right. So in other words, before I move on details into it, this is a little bit of skills? Skills that I've taken. Okay. In order for us teachers or examiners to mark your paper. Okay. So I would like to emphasize on band 5 here. Band 5 here. Okay, so we teachers starting from 2021, starting from SPM 2021, we have to give marks for your essay based on this criteria, based on contents, based on CA, also known as communicative achievement, based on organization and based on language. Actually, this one had been explained just now by Madam Nick, right? By Madam Nick. But what I want to emphasize here is, okay, can student achieve 5? 5 means full marks. Markah penuh untuk setiap bahagian adalah 5. 5 for contents, 5 for CA, 5 for organization, and 5 for language. Can student achieve 5, 5, 5, 5 full marks? The answer is definitely yes. Okay? Okay, why? Sometimes students have been asking, okay, many times, sir or teacher, we do not know whether our sentence is correct or wrong. We are not sure whether we are using our vocab appropriately. whether our grammar is really good, is really suitable to be used in this kind of sentences. Don't worry, don't worry. Because based on this rubrics, okay, language for part 1 paper only emphasize on basic. If students manage to use basic vocabulary appropriately and they manage to use simple grammatical forms, however, with a good degree of control, you can control, even though it's basic, but you can avoid the errors. And the best part is, even though the errors are noticeable, okay, but still we, the examiner or the teachers, can still understand the meaning, and still you can get 5 marks, full marks for language. Okay, similar goes for content, CA, and organization.
Nak lompat adik.
Alamak, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, so let me go faster with this. Okay, so short communicative message. Part 1, short communicative message. Okay, the first step is actually for you to understand about, for you to actually get the objective. You understand the sender, you understand the receiver, and you need to plan your essay. These are the 3 steps. Okay, so this is a sample question. Okay, this is a sample question. You can try and read this. Okay, and the one in red, I actually had underlined the one in red. So the one in red is refer to the objective of the question. Okay, because why? If you manage to identify the objective of the question, you can score, you have a fair chance to score 5 marks for the contents. Okay, so okay, these are the objectives. Name of the dish, activities, tools or equipment. These are the ones that have been highlighted in the question. Okay, so okay, I also share with you a list of useful phrases in writing. In writing, you can use these phrases in writing part 1 essay. Okay, so there are friendly opening, useful phrases, writing a postcard, and talking about possibility. And don't worry, students, me and also teacher Nick, we will share notes with you later on in a form of PDF document, right? Okay, so you can later refer to this useful phrases later. Okay, so this is the suggested answer. Okay, so we have the receiver there. We have greetings. Okay, at the same time, okay, we are actually answering the objective. Okay, so here, as you can see, there are a few types of varied sentences, types of different sentences. Okay, you will have a simple sentence, you will have a compound sentence, okay, and also okay, you will have a complex sentence. Okay, so this is what we are actually implying just now. Okay, what I just taught you just now, you can use this later on in your essay by applying this simple, compound, and complex sentences later on in your essay. Your sentence will be interesting. Okay, so maybe you can get 20 out of 20 for this one. You can get 20 out of 20 for this one. Maybe, suggested answer lah. Okay, right, so next, okay, next we move on to guided writing. Okay, don't worry, I will try my best to be quick. Okay, so the concept is still similar. Okay, we have A2 to B2 level. So I want to emphasize here on uses a range of everyday vocabulary. Okay, in terms of language, okay, you can use everyday vocabulary, common vocab, and then you can use some simples and some complex grammatical form. Okay, and then as long as your errors here, okay, do not impede communication, okay, as long as we can understand your flow of your essay at least, okay, so you have a fair chance to score, right? Okay, so the step is similar. Okay, you have to read the question, identify the objective, and also plan the essay. Okay, so this is the question. This is the question. So these are the objective. The one that I have underlined in red is the objective. Okay. All right. So for who? Give. To give for who? For your loved one, you need to provide reason and where can you buy the gift? Where and also the place. So to make things simpler, this is the planning stage. You can brainstorm your ideas, right? Okay, perhaps okay, to give to your loved one, perhaps to your father or mother or your teacher. Okay, and then the place that you can buy the gift, perhaps from the shopping complex or online store. Okay, and then you need to provide a few reasons. Okay, don't worry, after this I also provide what we call that sample answer, right? Okay, and things that you should buy. Actually, you can get this brainstorming from the objective just now. If you manage to identify the objective very well, then you can actually brainstorm this kind of information. Right. So connectors, okay, will later on be explained by Madam Nick. Okay. So these are the suggested answer. The one in red is the objective. The one in red is the objective. Okay, as you can see. Okay, the one that that I underline here is the one that I have actually mentioned in the brainstorming stage. Okay. All right. So you can produce all of this just by combining those three types of sentences. Okay. All right. So without wasting any time, I would like to pass the floor to Madam Nick to proceed with compound and complex sentences and also part 3 essay. Okay, Madam Nick.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Faizal, for a very fruitful sharing and a very interesting presentation. So before that, Faizal, we have a few questions you need to answer.
Okay.
In call messages.
All right. Okay. What is the first question?
Okay, we have question from Hang Wei Kwan. Is it necessary to put a comma before a conjunction?
Okay. A good question from our from Heng Wei Kwan. So actually it depends on your sentence. It depends on your sentence when when you want what kind of sentence that you want to write. Is it a simple? If it's just a simple sentence, you do not need to put a comma. However, if you want to separate those two ideas, idea 1 and idea 2 have different ideas, or to elaborate more, or to suggest further explanation about the first idea, about the first sentence, then it is necessary to put a comma before a conjunction. Okay.
Okay, next question. Di akhir jawapan kena letak bilangan perkataan ke, sir?
Yes. My students also ask the same question. Do we have to include a number of words after the end of our essay? Okay. Actually, okay. Don't worry about the number of words, because if you don't include the number of words, teachers, the examiner will count for you. Okay, will count for you to make sure it is actually 80 words. Just make sure you are actually writing within the number of words. So if you want to help us from counting your words, put the number of words. Okay. Any more question?
Do we need to write the email in paragraphs?
Okay, good question. Actually, you do not need to write the email in paragraph. You can write the email in just one paragraph. You can write the email in two paragraphs, or most that I've seen actually, students have written the email in 4 paragraphs. No problem. So the answer is actually do not need to write the email in paragraph. Okay.
Okay, sir, can you explain more about semicolon?
Okay, again, like what I have mentioned earlier, okay, semicolon is actually a punctuation that we use to separate, okay, not separate, sorry, to explain further about the first sentence. Let's say your first sentence mentioned the idea about why, okay, why about the patient was actually sick. Okay, so you provide reason. Okay, so that reason, perhaps because of COVID-19. So that reason, to explain further about the reason, in the middle, you can add semicolon. Okay, so I hope somehow that answer your question. Will students be penalized if they write more than the required number of words? Yes. We have received that kind of question for quite some time. Will the students be penalized? Okay. So far, this is the latest information that we got. So far, there is no instruction for examiner to penalize your writing if you actually exceed the required number of words. There is no instruction yet, but who knows? Because you will be having your SPM next year, and perhaps there will be a new amendments, a new changes towards the rubrics. Who knows? Like I said, who knows? So to be on the safe side, we need to play safe because we are talking about your marks here. So to be safe, why not you try your best for every exercises that you do, you try to write within the required number of words. That is much safer compared to taking a risk. Yeah. Okay. Similar with Rahizal. Okay. Kalau perkataan lebih kena potong markah kesel. Yeah. I'm sure I have answered the question just now because the question is similar to Ahmad Mustamir. Okay. Okay. So any more question? Because if you know, Madam Nick, you can proceed with paper 3, the most difficult paper, okay, for, part 3, the most difficult paper, part for paper 2. Okay, proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Faisal, and allow me to continue with the next type of sentence structure, which is compound complex sentence, and also said as the most sophisticated type of sentence structure where you can use to make your writing to the next level of complexity. Okay, so what is compound complex sentence actually? Okay, it comprises of 2 or more independent clauses. Okay, I love to ask my students to start with 2 independent clauses plus 1 dependent clauses. And if you are already familiar, master with this type of sentence structure, you may add more independent clauses in your sentence. Okay, Okay, let's see. Okay, for this statement, I choose think. Okay, since we wanted to have fun, okay, I put comma. So if we choose to start with dependent clause and subordinating conjunction, make sure you put comma at the end of the clause and followed by one independent clauses, and you link with another independent clauses by using another coordinator, the fanboys, any of the fanboys that you have learned before. So basically, okay, let's try to read it together. Since we wanted to have fun, my friends and I went to Rio and we danced all night. Can you see how interesting and how colorful your sentence compared to the original three simple sentences? All right. So some of the students may ask, teacher, can I start with independent clause at the front and followed by dependent clause? Yes, you may do so. Okay, let's change. Let's try to start with independent clause for this type of sentence. You may write this way. My friend and I went to Rio. Okay. Okay. So my friend and I went to Rio and we danced all night because we wanted to have fun. Because is subordinating conjunction. Okay. Because is one of subordinating conjunction. So actually you already produced a compound complex sentence. As easy as that. Try to practice to have to apply this kind of sentence in your essay. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, I love to use this formula with my students that will remember. Okay, this equation formula for the right compound complex sentence. Okay, Misha prefers watching romantic films, but he rented the latest spy thriller. Okay, teacher, I'm already satisfied with this because I already put but compound sentence. Okay, I'm satisfied with this. Is it enough? Yes, it is enough. It is enough. Okay, but as I said, you try to vary your sentence structure by upgrading it to another complex one. So, okay, so we have another simple one here, simple sentence. Why don't you produce another complex one? Okay, another complex type of sentence. Okay, so you have to decide what subordinator that you want to use. So for this situation, for this statement, I choose to use though. Okay, though Michelle prefers watching romantic films, he rented the latest spy thriller and he enjoyed it very much. Okay, basically, these two features, again, I love to repeat, I love to emphasize that these two features, subordinator and coordinator, is very important in constructing compound complex sentence. Is that clear? Okay, I want you to have a clear picture. Okay, all right, so let's move to the next one. Okay, the next one is the exercise. Okay, basically the compound complex sentence is a combination of subordinating and coordinating. As easy as that. Okay, so let's try together. The doctor wants to prescribe physical therapy and he asked me to see a specialist. That is compound because we already have one of fanboys here. He recommended Dr. Smith. But I want you to challenge yourself. I want to produce a complex one, compound complex. Okay, so this is the suggested answer. The doctor wants to prescribe physical therapy and he asked me to see Dr. Smith, whom he recommended. Okay, remember that relative clause, who, which, what, where, that is actually subordinator that you can use to produce compound complex sentence. Okay? Okay, like the example before, if you can see subordinating conjunction only begins. I put the subordinating conjunction at the beginning of the sentence. Actually, subordinating conjunction can be in the middle of the sentence, like this one. Okay, next one, we will miss our father greatly. He taught us many lessons. Those lessons have helped us succeed in life. Okay, as mentioned, as Supervisor mentioned before, it is not necessary, it's not compulsory for you to put your sentences in order. You may start with independent clauses first and followed by dependent clauses. Okay, for this example, okay, I use the second sentence as the beginning. Okay, our father taught us many lessons which, okay, I choose subordinated which help us succeed in life, and I add more one of the pen boys. All right, next one. Okay, we have limited time. Okay, so next one. Okay, we managed to finish the exercise on time and pass the exam. However, it was very difficult. Here, I think it is good enough because I use however. But remember, it is a very common conjunction. So, what is the other way you can do? Okay, to make your sentence colorful, we use subordinating conjunction. Although, okay, I choose although the exercise was very difficult, we managed to finish it on time. So we passed the exam. All right. So as a conclusion, this compound complex sentence is very easy. What you have just to remember these two important features: subordinating and coordinating conjunction. That's all. All right. So I hope you are clear about this one. So overall, there are the 4 types of sentence structure that you have to always apply in your writing. I am not promoting you to choose and to use only compound complex sentence. Teacher said this is the most complex one, so I want to use a compound complex sentence throughout my essay. No, that is not a good piece of writing. So you have to use every type of essay so that you can make it sophisticated and interesting. Okay? So basically, you have to understand what is dependent clause, independent clause, what is subordinator, what is coordinator. That is the only thing that you have to understand in order to form and construct a variety of sentence structure. As easy as that. Okay, students, you are our main target, so I hope you understand with our explanation. Okay, so next one. Okay, beside using all the 4 types of sentence structure, you varying the sentence structure in your essay, there's another feature. There's another one feature where you can bring up, you can level up, okay, the quality of your essay. Okay, what we call cohesive devices or discourse markers. Basically, these are more or less the same. Okay, cohesive devices or discourse markers. So what is this? This is not familiar for some students, am I right? Okay, but actually you have used it for years actually. Okay, so let's see what is cohesive devices and discourse markers. Okay, it is actually a linking words or phrases. Okay, this is actually a linker or sentence connector. Yes, it is a linker and connectors, which is glue and stick all your ideas together. As I said, make your what we call your acting cohesive. Okay, by what we call by choosing the right cohesive devices, it helps you to logically link all your ideas. Okay, cohesive devices, you know that is a linkers, is connectors, or in bahasa Melayu you call it penanda wacana. Okay, so it is basically a penanda wacana in your bahasa. So when and where to use it? Okay, since this will give me a good mark, I want to use it a lot in my essay. No, you have to use it sufficiently. Okay, you have to use it sufficiently and suitable. Okay, with its purposes. Okay, you cannot simply put therefore everywhere you like. You cannot simply put in addition everywhere you like. Everything have purposes. Okay, having too much cohesive devices in your writing will make your piece of writing heavy. Okay, heavy, and it is like force one. Teacher asked me to use a lot, so I use a lot. Okay, so it like the first one is it will be heavy and it is not interesting to read. Okay, and will give negative what feedback from the reader. Okay, it will not attract the readers to read. because it's heavy, as I mentioned before. So here I want to share with all of you some of the cohesive devices where can add value. Okay, where can add value to your writing. Okay, and its purposes. Okay, if you want to write a transition, you want to move from one idea to another idea, you may use turning to, with regard to, reference to. Okay, I love to ask my students to at least memorize. Okay, memorize or choose two uncommon or unique cohesive devices from each purposes. Okay, for example, emphasizing. Okay, I ask my students to answer, to choose. Okay, I want to choose in particularly. Okay, everybody loves internet. Everybody loves social media. In particular, I know, particularly teenagers. Teenagers, but in particular. Okay, so I want you to use this kind of discourse markers. Okay, you may use notably. I can jarang guna ni, so I want to use this. Okay, that's uncommon. So when you are using uncommon lexis, uncommon vocabulary, you actually add value to your writing. Okay, so sequencing. Next one is sequencing. This is a very common one. Firstly, and this is what our students and you love to use. Firstly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly. Ada ke? Okay, so after this, okay, try to use meanwhile. Okay, choose to. Meanwhile, subsequently. Okay, try to memorize two unique passive devices. Okay, so qualifying. When you want to add another statement that is more important than what you mentioned before, you use but, however. That's common lah, teacher. Although, unless. Okay, apart from that. Okay, I want to use apart from that. Okay, for my student, this is unique for them. Okay, so this is like bombastic for them. So it will give merit, okay, value to your writing. And reformulation, you want to show reformulation, you use in other words, you put more simply. So these are the example, and we have many. Actually, we have many. If you want to discuss this, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so remember, students, they try to use unique one. Additionally, I want to use furthermore is common. Okay, equally important. I want to choose this teacher. Okay, I want to use similarly when I want to show comparison. Okay, equally I want to use it. Okay, as a result, okay, for result, instead of using as a result, I want to use consequently. Okay, thereupon, I want to use it. Okay, try to practice. Okay, I believe your teacher have exposed to all of you, okay, about these exercises a lot of time. So it is up to you to practice. Okay, you have to practice. That's the main thing that you need to do. Okay, and then we have summary when you want to summarize. Besides using in conclusion, is a very common one. You can use in brief, on the whole. Okay, so these are examples. Okay, so for the rest, you can read by your own when we share the PowerPoint with all of you later. Okay, so please. Okay, so you see that by adding this special feature, you can add mark to your writing. Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't want to read this because we are running out of time. So, how internet affects life by Sally Z. Okay, I already differentiate some of the words with different color. The green one. What is the green one? What do you think the green one stands for? Represent. Okay, the green one is the fanboys. The fanboys is compound sentence. So basically, you're already producing compound sentence by adding the fanboys. Okay, what is the red one, teacher? We have a lot of red one. So that red one is actually your complex sentence. Complex sentence. Okay. What if you have red one and green one in one sentence? For example, okay, let's take one example. We have here. Okay, later, another next step. Okay, the green one, the red one is complex sentence. And what is the purple one? That is the cohesive devices. Discourse remarks that you can use. Okay, see. Okay, as you can see, okay, this is colorful. By adding color, you can see how colorful your writing will be. Okay, can you see that? Okay, we have, can you see the purple one is used sufficiently. I don't use it in every sentence. I use it sufficiently. So it will not be too heavy. Okay, I use additionally, I use as for example, I use for instance, I use meanwhile, and many more. Okay, let's see one example. Although internet can add more friends to our list, yet it still can develop antisocial behavior. It is compound complex. Okay, teacher, can I use simple sentence? Yes, you have to use actually. You have to use simple sentence. Not all sentence in your essay is compound and complex only. Okay, is that clear? So that basically the sample. Okay, so I want to repeat. Okay, I love to repeat this. Okay, for the content, make sure, since we are not focusing on content today, but just a reference for all of you that you must have topic, sentence, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. If you want to have, if you want to get 4 to 5 marks and achieve the required band for each part. And I love to ask my students to, okay, set in your mind, I want to use variety of sentence structure. I will remember a few coordinating conjunction. I will remember few. I will memorize few subordinator. Okay, I will definitely use unique essay devices in my essay. And I try my best to give a good vocabulary and best to write in a good using good and correct grammar. So that is what you have to put in your mind and plan before you write an essay. Okay, so this is the important part. Okay, this is the most important part. Where this is also said as the most difficult part. The part 3. Okay, let's take one example, one sample of the question. The article, let's choose article. Write your answer in 200 and 250 words. Okay, appropriate style. Okay, you know the style that you have to use is article, the format of article. What is the correct style? You have to use formal language. Okay, a serious tone. Okay, so you see a notice board on the board outside, you see a notice on the board outside the prefect's room. The sends your article, handling cyberbullies. Okay. If you can see in your question in part 3, there are series of questions. Okay, there are series of questions you need to answer. Okay, so for this question, for this sample, we have series of questions of what is cyberbullying? How can, you have to answer what is cyberbullying? How can students protect themselves? How parents can do to support? So this is the series of questions that you need to answer. Okay, I always I always ask my students to give 3 points for each question asked, for each requirement. To write an article answering this question. Okay, so assuming that you have this content, cyberbullying, what is the meaning of cyberbullying, how to protect themselves, what parents can do. You already have this. Okay, by having this, okay, you can get 5/5. Because remember that we mark your essay for each criteria separately. Okay, we don't see other criteria, we don't see other elements when we want to give you score for your content. All right, yes, so this is the sample of essay. This is a sample of essay that you can produce. Okay, you see the CX, CPCX, the CX and or complex. Okay, you may start with a complex sentence at the beginning of your essay. Okay, you use variety of subjects. You have to use variety of subjects. Don't start with pronouns, a simple subject. Okay, for this one, these days, anyone who is active can use who. By having who in your sentence, you actually produce a complex sentence. Okay, so next one. Okay, you answer. Cyberbullying is a type of bullying that occurs in digital devices such as, we have cohesive devices here. which includes you have another subordinator or sharing negative, harmful. You have one coordinator. So you already have produced a very long and good, accurate sentences. That's how you should write in your essay. Okay, so later on you may read by your own and see how you can produce a good essay. Okay, so what is the command here? Cohesive devices are used sufficiently. Okay, the red one is used sufficiently, not overused. Okay, sufficiently, and it is located in its place. Okay, suitable. Sentences are well organized and linked. Okay, all are linked with cohesive devices, connectors, and there are variety of sentence structure. So, how should I score you? What do you think? Okay, so for this kind of essay, you may get 5 for content. For the linguistic part is important. The CA, do you use the correct tone, correct style? If it is a formal language, okay, you may get 4 to 5 for this type of essay. Okay, for organization, okay, maybe you are not using, okay, maybe there's a, what we call, mistake here and there, okay? So maybe you can get 4 for this type of essay. Okay, the language, okay, for this one, there is no what we call uncommon vocabulary. Just use the everyday vocabulary. So maybe you can get 3 to 4. Now, do you think it is good enough? Okay, yes, it is good enough. Okay, but if you manage to go to until 5, you try. Okay, try to achieve that 5 marks. Okay, so next one, review. Okay, for the review, same thing. If we repeat the same thing, you have to read the question, and there is series of requirement. There's series of requirement in the question where you have to answer. Have you visited Good Cafe recently? You have to give the name. Send us your review. Tell us what you like, what you recommend, and why. That's the series of requirement, the task requirement that you have to answer in a review type of question. Okay, remember we have article, review, story, or report. Okay, so the same thing. Okay, I want to show you the same thing. Okay, you come up with content, you plan your content, you have spoken details, you have good examples. Make sure you have good examples from different sources. For part 3, remember you cannot apply what you write in part 1 into part 3 because you will not get 5 marks. Okay, some students will get 20 over 20 in part 1, but for part 3, why teacher I just get 12 over 20? Okay, because we mark you at different level. Remember that. We have a standard level for you to achieve. Okay, so this kind of content you may get 5 over 5. Okay, again, these are, you can see the colors, that represent type of sentences, cohesive devices. And this one, this student attempted using what we call uncommon and high vocabulary, we call rich vocabulary. Okay, hues. My student can't do that, can use that. Okay, so if you want to give merit, you give merit for this hues, the word. Attentive. Okay, I think that is good, okay, for my student. All right, so what is the command? What is the command? Okay, cohesive devices are sufficiently used, sentences are organized and linked well, and variety of sentence structure. And there's a few good vocabulary, and the tone is convincing enough. Okay, you want to recommend, right? Okay, the tone is convincing to attract me as a reader to go to Body Time Cafe. So you will get good mark for CA. Okay, so basically you will get higher mark this review sample of the essay compared to the previous one because we have a few good vocabulary and your tone is suitable and convincing. All right. So basically that is the format and the format of our writing paper. Okay, so you have any question before we proceed to the next? So before I conclude everything, you have any question? Okay. Okay, so to conclude, okay, you can see that linguistic components, okay, linguistic skills is important for you in order to get good marks in every part of your essay writing. So it is crucial for you to understand what is sentence structure, what are cohesive divisors, what is syntax, word choice, what is a good subject, and everything. Okay, students. Okay, remember that you are our main target, so I want to make sure that you understand. All right, so try to bring up the quality of your writing this time. After this course, after this program, try to practice, okay, using this type of sentences. All right, so that brings us to the end of our presentation today. And I hope that you gain a lot of what we call beneficial information and knowledge that you can apply in your examination and even in your life. Okay, so I sincerely appreciate all of your time and attention. And before I end, I would like to invite representative from PPD Kuala Selangor. Okay, do we have Encik Muhammad Tauhid here with us? Do we have him with us? Faizal?
Yes, Encik Tauhid is here with us. Yes.
So I would like, saya ingin menjemput Encik Muhammad Tauhid, Kepala PPD Kuala Selangor Sektor Pembelajaran untuk memberi rumusan berkenaan program kita hari ini sekaligus menutup kita punya memberikan ucapan penutup program kita pada hari ini. Dipersilakan Encik Muhammad Tauhid.
Please on the mic, Nick on the mic.
Sorry. Okay, if anyone have question while waiting for Encik Tauhid, okay, I'll be happy if you can ask any question regarding our program, our topic today. Okay, I'll open up for any discussion or question. Have any question in your chat? How much marks can we lose from grammatical errors? Okay, grammatical aspect. Which criteria considers all the grammatical aspect? Which one? Okay, the language part. So the grammatical error, what mark allocated for that part is only 5. It's only 5. So the worst that you can lose is, the maximum that you can lose is 5 only. Remember that we mark everything separately. Every component separately. Okay, Muhammad Ali? Okay. How many paragraphs do we need to write? Okay, how many paragraphs? Okay, 5 to 6 paragraphs is good enough for this kind of extended writing. Okay, do you have Encik Tauhid with us today? Now?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Encik Tauhid.
Okey, saya ada Encik Faizal.
Alhamdulillah sihat. Alhamdulillah. Okey, Encik Tauhid, kita minta sedikitlah untuk buat ucapan penutup. Encik Tauhid bersempena dengan program hari ini. InsyaAllah.
Ya, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Terima kasih diucapkan kepada Encik Faizal daripada SPM Kuala Selangor yang saya hormati ya. So Puan Masmiati di Katiman, pegawai di daerah Bagan Datuk, yang memungkinkan kita melaksanakan program jalinan kita pada petang ini. Ya, barisan pengetua SMK Kuala Selangor Puan Fatmah dan pengetua SMK Hutan Melintang, dan juga kepada penceramah kita yang juga guru Puan Nik Noridawati binti Muhammad Noor daripada SMK Hutan Melintang Perak, dan Cik Muhammad Faizal daripada SMK Kuala Selangor, daerah Kuala Selangor, dan berkolaboratif dengan sekolah-sekolah di daerah Kuala Selangor. Saya sebut secara umum SMK Kuala Selangor, SMK Kuala Selangor, Sekolah Menengah Sains Kuala Selangor, SMK Seri Tanjung, SMK Selangor, SMK Puncak Alam 3, SMK Sungai Buruh, SMK Seri Desa, SMK Raja Musa, dan SMK Sultan Sulaiman. Begitu juga di sekolah-sekolah di daerah Bagan Datuk Perak, SMK Ulu Bernam, SMK Hutan Bintang, SMK Sains Bintang, SMK Seri Perkasa, SMK Rungkup, SMK Sains Bagan Datuk, SMK Hir Johari, SMK Tun Abdul Razak, SMK Seri Muara, dan Sekolah Menengah Al-Ulum Al-Syariah di Bagan Datuk. Juga barisan pentadbir dan ketua-ketua panitia yang turut sama pada hari ini, dan kepada guru-guru bahasa Inggeris di kedua-dua negeri, daerah Bagan Datuk dan daerah Kuala Selangor, dan juga barisan kepada pelajar-pelajar 10 orang yang terlibat pada hari ini. Terima kasih dan salam perkenalan Tuan PPD. Saya nampak Tuan PPD ada. Salam Tuan Haji Muhammad Azwan, PPD Kuala Selangor. Beliau dalam keadaan tidak sihat. Dikabarkan cuti sehingga 27 hari bulan. So doakanlah supaya cepat sembuh. Saya dipahamkan Tuan PPD Bagan Datuk juga adalah orang Tanjung Karang, saya dipahamkan. Betul ke Tuan? Ya Puan Kasmiati. Alhamdulillah. Setempat kita tapi baru dipertemukan di sini. So terima kasih atas pertemuan ini, dan sebenarnya saya lama dah di sini. Saya melihat penerangan daripada Cikgu Faizal, Cikgu Megawati, kepada pelajar-pelajar. Saya ucapkan terima kasih dan tahniah sangat bermanfaat sesuai dengan kelompok pelajar yang dipanggil tadi, kumpulan murid-murid pertengahan dan pendekatan compound sentence tadi sesuai untuk upgrade level pelajar. Jadi pelajar tidak terikat untuk menulis karangan dalam bentuk yang simple sentence saja, supaya ada kualiti di sini. Jadi saya rasa pelajar-pelajar beruntung pada hari ini. Gunakanlah manfaat dan peluang yang kita perolehi pada hari ini untuk kita jadikan satu semangat, walaupun di mana anda berada, di Bagan Datuk ke, di Kuala Selangor ke, sebab dalam keadaan ini kita perlu berjuang. So perjuangan ini bukan sahaja kepada guru-guru kita. Kalau pelajar-pelajar yang hadir pada program pada petang ini akan melihat betapa guru-guru anda bersusah payah memungkinkan program seperti ini untuk memberi manfaat kepada anda. Jadi anda laksanakan ini adalah satu perjuangan daripada guru anda, dan sebagai pelajar ini juga adalah perjuangan kepada anda dalam menghadapi keadaan sekarang ini. Dalam keadaan sekarang ini anda yang kena bersedia, anda yang kena menjaga disiplin diri anda untuk belajar. Jadi di peringkat PPD, di peringkat sekolah adalah menyediakan satu medan, satu tapak dan ruang untuk anda belajar. Yang pergi melalui ini adalah pelajar itu sendiri. Jadi gunakanlah manfaat ini, dan begitu juga ada kena maklum bahawa penyertaan kita terhad 10 orang satu sekolah, ramai dari rakan-rakan anda yang tercicir, jadi yang tidak dapat ikut sama dalam program ini. Jadi mungkin wakil-wakil pelajar di 10 buah sekolah ini, kembangkanlah ilmu yang kita dapat pada hari ini untuk kita kongsikan dengan rakan-rakan di sekolah kita, sebab apabila kita bercakap dan kita menyampaikan, dia lebih berkesan. Berikutnya adalah kepentingan bahasa Inggeris itu sendiri. Saya ingin menyentuh satu perkara lagi. Pelajar-pelajar kena sedar pada dunia sekarang, kepentingan untuk mempelajari bahasa Inggeris bukan semata-mata untuk menjadi seorang guru bahasa Inggeris, bukan semata-mata untuk menjadi seorang pensyarah dalam bahasa Inggeris, bukan semata-mata untuk nanti menyambung pelajaran di peringkat universiti dalam bahasa Inggeris. Tetapi kepentingan dalam bahasa Inggeris ini adalah kepentingan alam pekerjaan masa kini. Anda belajarlah bidang apa pun, Anda masuklah dalam bahagian apa pun, jika Anda ingin berjaya dan pergi lebih jauh dalam konteks yang global, Anda mesti menguasai bahasa Inggeris. Ini realiti keadaan sekarang. Jadi, bahasa Inggeris ini adalah satu ilmu pelengkap bagi kerjaya Anda apabila Anda keluar daripada sekolah ini. Bukan sekadar kepada untuk SPM Anda, untuk memungkinkan Anda masuk bidang bahasa Inggeris. Bukan untuk itu. So, kena pandang di dalam satu bentuk ilmu yang luas. Jadi, kepada guru-guru yang turut sama, yang memberikan komitmen, saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih di atas program yang kita laksanakan pada hari ini. Saya lupa perkenalkan pada tuan-tuan puan-puan, turut sama sebenarnya ialah pegawai SIC Plus saya, iaitu Puan Nurul Huda, yang saya mohon pada beliau untuk follow up nanti beberapa perkara. Mungkin kita akan bina lagi jalinan yang lain dengan beberapa perkara lagi dengan PPB Bagan Datuk. Pada saya, kita dah nampak laluannya, nampak jalannya dalam keadaan PKP. Walaupun ada sekatan jalan raya banyak, kita boleh melepasi sekatan jalan raya itu. So, kita dalam pertemuan kita pada hari ini. Jadi itu saja daripada saya. Teruskan semangat untuk anak-anak, sebab Anda bukan bersaing dengan orang lain, dengan diri Anda sendiri. Jika Anda ingin berjaya, Anda perlu berjuang, memperjuangkan diri Anda sendiri. So itu saja daripada saya. Sekali lagi bagi pihak PPD Kuala Selangor, mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Puan Persmelati di atas komitmen yang Puan tunjukkan dan bersama Puan dalam jaringan ini, juga guru-guru di Perak, di daerah Bagan Datuk dan pelajar-pelajar di Bagan Datuk. Saya juga mewakili rakan-rakan panitia dan guru-guru yang terlibat di Kuala Selangor memohon ampun dan maaf jika ada kesalahan dan kesilapan daripada pihak kami. InsyaAllah pada saya ini adalah satu permulaan program kita, bukan satu pengakhiran. Satu permulaan, banyak lagi yang kita boleh buat kolaboratif daripada aspek mungkin PPD sendiri, PPD Kuala Selangor dan PPD Bagan Datuk sendiri. Mungkin kita boleh berkongsi amalan-amalan pembudayaan di daerah masing-masing sebagai satu perkongsian ilmu. Dan begitu juga pada guru-guru, ini adalah program untuk kita merintis kepada program seterusnya. Itu saja daripada saya. Sekian, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mungkin Tuan PPD ada sedikit ke kata-kata?
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih atas ucapan tadi, dan sesungguhnya saya sangat gembiralah berjumpa dengan orang satu negeri Jadi saya ada dua negeri ni. Jadi tanyalah Jadi mudah-mudahan lepas ni kita boleh buat jalinan dalam bentuk yang lain dan juga mungkin subjek lain Dan alhamdulillah SPM Bagan Datuk 2020 nombor 1 lah di negeri Perak dari segi grade. Dan kita mengucapkan kejayaan Okey. Jadi untuk 2021 cikgu, sebenarnya murid-murid sangat memerlukan cikgu dalam keadaan apa sekalipun sangat memerlukan cikgu. Jadi marilah kita sama-sama membimbing anak didik kita dalam persiapan untuk SPM 2021 insyaAllah. Mudah-mudahan daerah Kuala Selangor dan Bagan Datuk akan terus cemerlang insyaAllah. Terima kasih semua guru-guru yang terlibat dan juga pegawai-pegawai di PPD Kuala Selangor lah. InsyaAllah kita boleh terus membuat jalinan dan jaringan dalam pelbagai terutama amalan-amalan terbaik yang mungkin panitia-panitia subjek yang lain ada yang kita boleh kongsikan bersama. InsyaAllah PPD Bagan Datuk akan sentiasa support untuk anak-anak didik insyaAllah.
Terima kasih Puan.
Sekali lagi terima kasih kepada semua pegawai PPD daripada Bagan Datuk dan juga Kuala Selangor. So maka berakhirlah perkongsian kita pada hari ini dan terima kasih banyak-banyak terima kasih kepada semua yang terlibat dan terima kasih kepada memberi masa dan perhatian dalam program ini. So dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, kita tamatkan kita punya program pada hari ini. Sekian, terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much from China. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you everyone. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, congrats, Iswari. Dania diberi bersama.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih Puan Tati. Terima kasih Puan Fahmi.
Okay, sama-sama kembali. InsyaAllah.